great stories, things we shouldn't say, but we're gonna laugh about them anyway. Hey, welcome to Glick's Comedy Lounge, where the jokes go wild and the laughs get loud. Hey, pull up a seat, stay all night long. Tell a crazy story, sing along to the song. With a wild tale to tell, from the road, the stage, or a barroom hell. The crowd's getting loud and the stories get strange. Every single night the chaos rearranges. No scripts here, just the truth and the laughs, and maybe a roast if you cross Glick's path. Hey, welcome to Glick's Comedy Lounge, where the jokes go wild and the laughs get loud. Hey, pull up a seat, stay all night long. Tell a crazy story, sing along to the song. Whoa, tell us how it went down. Whoa, at Glick's Comedy Lounge. Late nights, loose minds, stories all around. You're hanging out tonight at Glick's Comedy Lounge. Hey, welcome to Glick's Comedy Lounge, where the jokes go wild and the laughs get loud. Hey, pull up a seat, stay all night long. Tell a crazy story, sing along to the song. Whoa, tell us how it went down. Whoa, at Glick's Comedy Lounge.
Whoa, hey. What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. Oh, my God. Shut up, you're done. Oh, I got all kinds of new buttons down there I can play with. Anyway, sorry, squirrel. What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Nonsensical Network and Glick's Comedy Lounge, a little comedy unleashed, if you will. If you guys aren't already, go ahead and check us out everywhere. We're on all the socials. You can check out the shows live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And you can listen anytime wherever you listen to podcasts at. And I will have you guys know 100% completely up to date, with the exception of tonight's show, which will hopefully go up as soon as I'm done. That's my goal. We'll see what happens. But you can find us everywhere, bio.link/nonsensical network. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us a share. Don't forget, we got the super chats on and in the building. If you guys want to help support the shows, you're more than welcome to. Not required, but greatly appreciated, because this shit ain't free. Damn it. What's going on, Scorpio, Daniel, and Jay Devil in the building? What's going on? I'll see you guys. But enough about me, enough about us, enough about you. We're here for the comedy. I'm not a comedian. Never claimed to be one. Don't want to be one. I don't want to stand on stage and try to make people laugh. I don't like getting in front of public and speaking. But I do have a guy backstage who is very good at it. And we were having fun laughing before we even came up here. So I imagine we're going to laugh some more. Mr. Joe Scrocca. And I fucked it up. I got in my head, and I think I.
No, you didn't. That's perfect. Perfect. Like, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming up and hanging out tonight. I know I'm gonna keep you up a little bit past your bedtime tonight. So
That's all right. You know what? I get funny past my bedtime, so God knows in the 9 o'clock hour what the hell I'm going to say. So,
all right.
yeah, a lot of people ask me for the link, and I send them the link, and they all said, "Hey, the link's giving me the finger." I said, "It's the Jersey hello. It's just a greeting. Don't be offended, for God's sakes. It's just a hello."
I guess I should soften up the network logo.
No, I like it. I like it. And I like confronting people that give me crap about it. So.
that was a design on purpose. We went through a little. I mean, we still have our haters, but they've gotten real quiet lately. But we went through a phase where the haters were coming in and trying to start all kinds of crazy shit on a regular basis. So you know what? I'm going to create a logo that gives them the old double.
That's it, man.
Exactly what we think about you.
That's a smart thing to do. I mean, people were laughing about it, but I joked about it. But yeah, but I'm here. I'm in New Jersey, and I do stand up. There's nothing to fear getting on stage, man. I get up there, I could care. I mean, I want to make people laugh, but I mean, I just go up there and do my thing. And people laugh, but I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If I don't make them laugh, I still get paid, and I still get booked. But I usually make people laugh. A very few times, I did a show at a retirement center in a Sunday afternoon at 1:30, and the show time coincided with nap time. And the entire audience was asleep before I even got to the stage. So I can say I didn't put them to sleep. They were already asleep. And to verify they were asleep, I started reciting the Gettysburg Address, 7 years ago. Nobody flinched. So I'm thinking these people are either dead or asleep. So that's not my kind of show.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's such a weird. I mean, I guess if you do clean comedy or maybe whatever. It's just such a weird concept to me, is bringing a comedian into a retirement home.
Look, it's an activity that people enjoy it. The bottom line is the bottom line. I mean, they pay well. You go in there for an hour and a half, and you get paid well. But it's I have to feel energy from a crowd, and that was probably the only time I ever felt negative energy, because I'm not kidding. They were asleep. They were napping.
Yeah, that's nothing you did. They were it was their nap.
Yeah, they were asleep. I walked in there, and they're nodded out. They're drooling. Some people were getting CPR. It was really, this is exciting. I'd rather go into a comedy club and have people that are there. They're coming to laugh. They're awake. They're alert. I'd rather get heckled than do comedy to a sleeping audience.
Sleeping, some dying, some sleeping, some doing that. We don't know. I mean, it's great that they do those activities, and I work in that type of environment. And I love seeing all the fun activities that they do. And it's like, man, I'm like 10 years away from being able to come live one of these places. This is kind of cool. Not this one, but like somewhere on a beach somewhere, maybe find a retirement home on a beach or something like that.
Well, I just ended up talking to asking, the few people that were awake, do you like this place? I'm getting up there. I'm going to be 65 in April. So I just turned 65. And they said, oh, it's very nice. And how expensive? I just started talking to them about the facility, because it's like they clearly weren't understanding any of the jokes or awake from, and I'm like panning, and I'm saying, it's like somebody let off like sleeping gas or something. These people all just passed out. But apparently 1:30 was their nap time, and they decide, hey, 1:30 would be a good show time. They are on the good stuff. Annette Corte, that's my girlfriend.
Well, hello, Miss Annette.
Leave it to her to put that one out there. But but anyway, so we were talking in you tell me where you're located, and I did some shows out in that area, and it's a fun area. I traveled all over the country doing stand up, and the one place that I really was blown away by was Nebraska. I mean, it is boring. To the point where those people need comedy, because they'd shoot themselves if they didn't have comedy. They need something, because it was. I mean, I never saw such a desolate area.
There's just no. Now, don't get me wrong. I have made the comment several times. If I ever hit the lottery, I'm buying like at least a minimum of 500 acres in the middle of nowhere. But
this was like 500,000 acres. I mean, you just drive for hours, and it's like, when's the flying saucer going to land?
Yeah. No. Yeah, I mean, Ohio's not bad. I mean, you're in Jersey, like we were talking backstage. You're in Jersey. You know my biggest complaint? It's the winter. Plus, our weather is so goddamn bipolar. It doesn't know what it's doing. One day it's 90 degrees, the next day it's 30 degrees, snowing.
Same thing here. Same thing here. And it's really interesting that we're still like, we went from winter to summer, and then back to winter, and then there was no spring, there was no warm up, at which it went from hot to or cold to hot, and then back to cold. But yeah, that, and I joke about that sometimes, about the weatherman is such a good job, or meteorologist on the news, such a good job. You can be wrong all the time. And when you don't know what the hell's going on, you use the three models: the American model, the European model, and I don't know what the fuck is going on model.
I say that all the time. Like, I need that job, because if I fuck up one, maybe two times in my job, I'm done. I'm standing in the unemployment line. Like,
yeah, but a meteorologist, they could always be wrong. It's like, we forecast a snowstorm, but it didn't come because our prayers were answered.
Yeah.
That's so they have that out. But yeah, I went through Ohio. I think I told you I did a show at Crackpots in Massillon, and then I was supposed to be there second night, but the headliner on the second night brought his own people, so I ended up going to Paynesville and doing a show there. It was like in the bottom of a restaurant. I want to say it was a Red Rocks or something, but it was a nice venue. And then I shot over to Chicago and did the Laugh Factory, and then drove back to Jersey with my check engine light on the whole way, wondering, am I going to break down?
I mean, I'm not a mechanic or anything, but I just assume all that light means is to get out and check and make sure your engine's there. So I've done my job. Everything's
Yeah, I popped the hood at the gas station. I got my hammer out. I clunked a few things. The light didn't go out, and I kept driving. It ended up it was a hose. It wasn't anything serious, but it was like, there's nothing scarier than leaving Chicago, having to drive back to Jersey, and the first thing you see is, check engine light, pull over, stop. No, I can't. I'm in Chicago. I have to get to New Jersey.
I've been to Chicago a few times in my life, and I understand that fear right there.
Yeah, it's like once you get past the Skyway, you could breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
But then again, you're in the middle of nowhere. You're going through Indiana. But yeah, it was a lot of it was a lot of fun though. A lot new markets. First time I played Ohio. First time I played Chicago, and first time I played Nebraska. And it's funny because my stuff, I'm Italian, and I don't do the ethnic Italian stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do anything like, I'm from Jersey. I don't do like the East Coast, because it doesn't land in other parts of the country.
Yeah.
People, you go up there in Philadelphia, do a show, hey, yo, cuz, all right, you get in Nebraska, yo, cuz, are we related?
Yeah.
They don't get it. So I don't try it.
Yeah. And unfortunately, most people in Nebraska have never been outside of Nebraska. I don't think they know they can leave, in all honesty, in Nebraska. So
there were a couple people I would have taken with me. I'm sorry, Tina. A couple beautiful women that were there. I would have maybe said, hey, you want to see the real world? But then Tina would have killed me, and then she would have had to show them the real world.
Yeah, exactly. No, how long have you been doing the comedy? How long
I've been doing stand-up for 2.5 years.
So
and I had no background in anything, in any entertainment, any comedy, anything. I tell this story on stage, but it's the God's honest truth. In December 2023, I woke up and I said, I'm sick of dating crazy women. I want to do something fun. Let me try stand-up comedy. And a friend of mine owned a comedy club in my town, Wildwood, New Jersey. And I would go to see comics, and I thought, you know what? Let me ask him. I said, hey, can I get 5 minutes? I'll give you 5 minutes. I said, tape myself doing what? He said, trying to be funny. I said, okay. So I taped myself telling a couple stories. He said, you're hilarious. You got your 5 minutes. So that show was Friday, December 15th, 2023.
Yeah.
Who am I dating now? Anyway, no,
Yeah.
but the I had to do an open mic because I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never been on stage before. Didn't know how to stand on stage, talk in a microphone, any of that stuff. So I found an open mic. They canceled it the day before the mic. I found another open mic. Ended up being a venue that was a club for a notorious New Jersey motorcycle gang. And my first, my first show was in front of a group of people wearing vests that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because I know these people and I know what they've done. I've read about them on the internet. Well, I was going to say in the paper. That's how old I am. But yeah, but I got through it and I was hooked. And I've done probably over 250 shows, plus festivals, plus open mics, things like that. And it's just a lot of fun. I've been in 2 independent movies. In fact, earlier today, a friend of mine is a car salesman, and I had no idea he just says, "Hey, I want you to stop. I want to say hi to you." And he ended up putting me in a couple of videos that he promotes his car sales on YouTube. So we just kind of, no script, just kind of winged it. So I'll see how that goes. I told him, I said, if anybody says, "Hey, I'm buying a car from you because of Joe's video, I want a commission."
Yeah, slide a little, you got to slide it my way,
but it was a weird journey, because people always ask, "Oh, something I always wanted to do," and honest, it did not cross my mind till that day in December, and I'm like, I just, and when people say, "Oh, how weird were the women?" I mean, there was a woman I dated over 8 years, decided to just stand up on the couch, pull her pants down, and piss on me, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And I thought you would like it. I said, what in 8 years did I ever say or do to make you think I would like getting pissed on?
Yeah.
And then after her, I dated a girl that ended up being a heroin addict, but she had me convinced their track marks were cat scratches. And after about 2 weeks, I realized she didn't have a cat. She didn't have a litter box. And these are great. So I just said, I'm done. Now I'm dating Tina, Annette, and she's probably one of the craziest of them all, but she supports my comedy. I love her. She's fun to be with. And, we just have a lot of fun together. But, there were some doozies out there that were like, there's one girl, I went out on one date with her. We made a date for a second date. And she Dear John'd me by text and said, "Listen, I really can't go out with you. I have to rake leaves in my yard." And I'm thinking, listen, say I'm ugly, say you don't like me, say I have bad breath, but raking leaves, that's got to be the first Dear John. Like somebody getting broken up over raking leaves, doing yard work of any kind. And the crazy thing is, a girl that I go to the gym with knew where she lived. And she passed by that Saturday, and damn if she wasn't out there raking leaves.
Hey, well, I mean, at least she was honest with you.
She was honest, but who the hell gives up going to a nice dinner with a handsome, funny guy like me for doing yard work?
Her loss, Joe. Her loss. Man.
No question about it. And she worked at the post office. I don't think that she liked it when I called her Newman. Seinfeld reference for those of you who don't know.
Yeah, that might have struck the chord a
little
bit.
If she doesn't have a sense of humor, I don't want to be with her anyway.
No, I know that's right, and I think we can all say we've had horrible dating escapades. Unfortunately, in the last several years, all of mine have played out right here on this lovely network that I have. So everybody has got to see all my trials and tribulations when it comes to dating mishap.
Well, mine are on stage, so I don't have the medium that you do, the form that you do, but state to state to state as I travel and tour. Oh, they hear. One day people are going to see me somewhere and say, "That's the guy that got pissed on." That's not what I want to be remembered for. But you know what? If they remember me, they remember me, and I'll take that.
I can happily and proudly say that's never happened to me, but I think I'm right there with you, Joe. I think it's going to be 100% a deal breaker. It's time to grab your stuff and go. I mean, it was shocking. She just did. It was the last thing in the world that I expected. The only thing worse is if she would have taken a crap on me or thrown up on me. That would have been even worse. But any bodily fluids, bodily material, I don't want it.
I got enough of my own, and I don't like it. I'm grossed out by
it. That said, people are going to start believing you, dude.
It happened, Annette. but it, so you interview comedians, but you don't want to do stand up. What's your apprehension?
I Scorpio, stop it. Kayla's gonna find out, and then she's gonna be mad. I am. Well, I don't like public speaking for one. That's something I've never gotten over, which is funny because I do this. But as I tell people, I'm in my bedroom. If I have a shit or if I'm not feeling it, I can just simply reach up and close my laptop. Game over. And if it's really bad, I can delete it. But I don't think that I'm built to get up on stage and write. I got stories for days. I mean, I grew up a poor kid in the country, and I've got a million stories for days. But I just don't think I have it in me to do jokes. Everything like my funny, I guess, comes right off the top of my head, and it's usually from interactions with people or, and I don't want to be that.
You should write it down and note it, because you too may have like a senior moment, go out of your mind and say, "Shit, I'm going to do stand-up comedy," like I did.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is there are a lot of comedians. You'd think that, this guy, what the hell? There are a lot of people in their 50s and 60s that just literally. Now, a lot of them took courses, or they'd written comedy and just never performed comedy. Hey, Weirdo and Joe. Oh, I thought you said Weirdo Joe. But you could call me Weirdo Joe. That's fine. But yeah, I
much
just
older sister. She's not the lights are on, but nobody's home. If you know what I mean.
Hey, listen, my sister, when I was a little kid, stabbed me in the arm with a pencil. I'm 65. I've had that same piece of graphite in my arm for 50 years.
Nice.
So now I contend that I didn't deserve it. My sister swears that I deserved it. And it was all over an argument about a friend of hers that was staying over for dinner. And I'm sorry, listen, don't think less of me for this. I've matured a little bit since then. But the girl was really ugly. And she was staying over for dinner. And so I got one of the dog's Gaines burgers and put it on a plate. I said, "Stephanie, that's where you're going to sit." My sister went ballistic. She chased me through the house, pinned me down, stabbed me in the arm with a pencil, looked me right in the eyes with this evil, evil look, and made sure she snapped that point and made sure it stayed in my arm. And I was 15. I'm 65 now. So, yeah.
I got stabbed by a pencil, too. I was 13. Actually turned out to be a kid who wound up being one of my best friends growing up through high school and stuff like that. On the bus, little guy, just a little guy.
Do you still have the lead or the?
No, I do have a sweet little scar that actually looks like a birthmark because he stuck that pencil about 2 inches into my stomach.
Oh.
So little guy, he started mouthing off on the school bus, and I kind of mushed him down in the seat. And next thing I know, he went right into my stomach. So.
That was more painful than what she did to my arm. But mine's still there. People sometimes look at it and say, "Oh, what do you have, pen on your?" No, that's 50-year-old graphite from when my sister.
Graphite, yeah. Oh yeah, little battle scars for days.
Oh, I have plenty of battle stories. Can I tell you another battle story?
Absolutely, I'm here for
All
this.
right. In the second grade, back in the days when we walked home from school for lunch, I was walking home from school, and this kid Billy was behind me, and he was pushing me and giving me crap. So I saw a piece of paneling in the street, and I picked it up and I smashed it over his face. That was a piece of paneling. It wasn't a 2x4. So I go back to school, and the teacher had the classroom set up as a courtroom. She actually put me on trial for hitting the kid with a piece of paneling. Now, I go home and tell my mother. Now, I don't know if you have many Italian people where you're at, but an Italian mother, she went in there, she ripped this lady a new asshole to the point where I could have not showed up for the rest of the year and got straight A's.
Mm-hmm.
It was traumatic for a little second grader. Am I guilty? Yeah, I'm guilty. He was pushing me. I defended myself. I smashed him over the head with a piece of paneling. And So yeah, so that's another battle story. Um, I didn't get into too many fights, but that's one that stands out. My sister stabbing me. Obviously,
Yeah.
I have the memory of that embedded in my arm. What else? Yeah, I can't remember too many fights. I was the one being bullied usually.
Well,
I was.
I went through that where I was bullied, but I think I when I finally learned that I'm bigger than most kids. Yeah, I'm bigger than most adults at 12, 13 years old. I don't have to be bullied. Like, so yeah, I had that size advantage going for me most of my life. So
That's a good thing. I mean, I'm like a little sawed off Guido. I'm like 5'5",
yeah,
I'm just, but you work with what you have, right?
yeah, you got to do what you got to do to survive. Poor Johnny over here talking about his sister's waterboarding him with Italian vinaigrette.
Just don't get it in your eyes.
Yeah.
You could choke on it, but don't get it in your eyes.
Yeah,
But what else? What else
my
you want to talk about?
my sisters and I were well, my one sister and I, we used to have all out wars like growing up. I don't know how we survived. I don't know how she survived in all honesty, but
Well, we had this indoor rock garden at the one house we lived at. I don't know why, but we did. And when I would piss my sister off, she'd just pick up a handful of rocks and wing them at me. I think definitely some brain damage.
mm,
I did get chased by a girl who chased me to my house and hit me over the head with a hammer. People ask me, have I been dropped on my head? No, but I was hit on my head with a hammer. So I think that's an equivalent traumatic blunt force to the what little brain I might have.
what little brain power that you have. I run with one
You
brain.
hit the right spot. She beat the odds. It was like those arcade games.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Defied all odds and came out on top.
That's right.
Yeah.
She didn't get a prize, and I got a concussion, but
Yeah. Well, speaking of like jokes and stuff, it sounds like you got stories for days. Are you more of a storyteller, or
that's
are you
exactly that's it. That's what I tell stories about my life. I still and some stuff's embellished, some stuff is right on. Like I usually open with the same thing every show, which is I love doing stand up comedy. I love working with all these funny comedians that we have on the lineup tonight. But a couple weeks ago, I worked with a comedian that told a story about finding his father's stash of pornography, and they bonded over that moment. And that brought back a childhood memory because when I was 9, I found my father's stash of pornography. Now, we didn't bond over that moment, but that's when I discovered my father was gay. And then I go on to say, Johnny Does the Catching is not a baseball film. After the third time I watched it, I just didn't see any baseball. And then, it just so stuff like that. And that's, part true, part embellished. And then there's one that's exactly true. So I refer to my wife as my ex-wife, but she passed away 12 years ago because I found that dead wife jokes don't really cut it. So this happened exactly the way I say it is, I say, one of the reasons I'm divorced from my wife is she made me do stupid shit like take her to the doctor's appointments. So one day we're at the gynecologist. I'm in the exam room with her. I'm holding her clothes, and the doctor's under that little vagina tent doing whatever the hell he does under there. And he zips out and he looks at me. And before he could say a word, I looked at him and I said, "Saw your shadow. 6 more weeks of no sex." And I said that to the doctor. My wife cracked up. I looked at the doctor. I said, "Listen, don't look at me with that straight face. You know that's funny. You're going to use it. You better give me credit."
Yeah, right.
So it's just stuff that's happened or just observe. Everybody observes.
Oh yeah.
I think when you start doing stand up, you observe things in a different way. So I mean, I'll hear things or see things, and I'll record it right into my phone voice recorder, put it in notes. And then what I used to do when I first started, I used a whiteboard. And what I did is I would write out the story, use black ink, but red ink for words that had to stay in there, read it, narrow it down, cut it, change it, whatever, and then get it to where, okay, this is what I think will work. And if it worked, great. If it didn't work, come back and rework. Writing is a continuous process, and the stories have a life of their own, and I was just telling the guys when I was doing the videos for the car dealership, about how, like, early on I had this story about, I used to say, I'd like to tell you a cute story about the first time I had sex with a prostitute. And it took about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And I thought, okay, it gets a good laugh. There's a couple laughs in there, but I can narrow this down to like 25 seconds. And I narrow it down and just say, hey, has anybody ever gotten a blowjob from a prostitute? Because I want to tell you a story about the blowjob I got from a prostitute. I want to say, hey, unprotected, finished in her mouth. She spit, she rinsed, turns around and tells me to have a blessed day. Does anybody else find that weird? And that kind of is the summation of that, of the prostitute joke. So, but it's everything, everything lives and breathes and changes. And I'm always trying to put new stuff in. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And, I like, I don't know if you've ever listened to Comic Mind with Jeff Foxworthy. It's on Sirius XM. He has a station on there.
A couple times, yeah.
And I love that show because it's basically just shop talk between Jeff and other comedians, and they just talk about everything comedy, how they got started, how they developed, their writing process, everything. And one thing, if there's any common denominator that I find in that show is it's like, don't ever throw jokes away. You may have something that absolutely bombs, put it aside, rework it, and in 2 years you may have something that it ties into, and now it's a great joke to have. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. So I never throw jokes away, but I'll pull them from my set. And I'll say, okay, I got to give that a rest and maybe, rework it. But it's really, and again, I was never a writer. I was terrible in English in school. I used to write the way I speak, which is everything's grammatically incorrect that way, right?
I 100% feel you on that. I have told people a million times I have abused and beaten down the English language for the last 45 years, and there's no stopping me.
Yeah, and so I'm not like, oh, well, you write so well, you write this, you write that. And it's funny, I did a show. It was like a competition, but it was a show in Maryland about a little over a year ago. At that point, I guess I was doing stand-up maybe 14 months, 15 months. And they said, how long are you doing stand-up? I said, about 14 months. And the one judge looked at me and said, it's amazing you're only doing this 14 months because your writing style, your writing ability is at a 5 or 6 year level. And I thought that was a cool compliment because I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't have a workbook. I don't have any guidance. I don't have any. I mean, I work a lot of stuff, with my son, but it's not like, oh, I have a playbook. I just wing it.
Yeah.
And so to get that compliment, that was pretty good because I have no idea what I'm doing. I really don't.
I get that because I'm the same way. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing pretty well.
I think that makes for the best comedy. It's because it's obviously not scripted. Mm-hmm. It's not something that you go up there. I don't do the same set night after night after night. I change it up. But in the 2.5 years I've been doing this, I've had just some very lucky and very amazing opportunities. Like my day job's a mortgage broker, and I have a wholesale rep that I work with. And I told her I was getting into stand-up comedy. She says, well, I have a guy in PA who's a mortgage broker. It's one of my clients. It's Steve Trevino's best friend. She said, Steve likes to bring new comics on stage. Send me a tape. I'll forward it to him. A couple of days later, she says, listen, he's going to tell Steve to bring you on. And I ended up opening, for Steve Trevino at the Kirby Theater in Wilkes-Barre, PA, to about 900 people. And that was like 4 months into doing stand-up. And people said, oh, my God, were you shitting? No, I was laughing because I opened the show. They introduced me, and people are cheering. They don't know who the fuck I am.
Who the hell you
I'm myself. But man, that when you get so hooked when that spotlight captures you and you go to the center stand, it's following you around, and you have 900 people laughing at you. That's where I think the term roar of laughter, because it does say when you have 900 or most of the 900 people laughing, it sounds like a roar. It really does. It was so cool. That was one of my best experiences. And then February of 2025, I was doing a new comic showcase at Gotham in New York City. And, just 11 new comics, nobody you've ever heard of, except me, of course. And I was number 6 to go on. 5 was on stage. Jim Gaffigan comes strolling in. Host comes up to me and said, hey, listen, Jim's going to do a set. After his set, you'll go on. I'm thinking, oh, great. I'm doing this maybe 13 months. I have to follow one of the hottest comics in the world. No pressure.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes into his set, host comes back, says, hey, listen, Jim's going to bring up a friend. You're going to go up after the friend. Friend's going to do a set. Okay. If you're all right, maybe some friend from New York.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, Jesus.
So now I have to follow a combined 40 minutes of Gaffigan and Seinfeld and make people laugh, which I did. But they cut my opening out. I think Jerry Seinfeld wanted it cut out because I said, hey, I'm a first-year comedian. Jim and Jerry open for me all the time. Yeah. And, got a good laugh, but they cut it. So if you ever see my whole video from Gotham, they introduced me and I'm like in the middle of a set, in the middle of a story. So it got cut. But when I was going on stage, Seinfeld was coming off and I looked at Seinfeld and I said, great, first year comedian, no pressure having to follow you. He starts laughing, punches me in the arm and says, you're going to do great. And I did. I had a very good set. No, I was nervous, but I didn't show my nerves. And after my set, I ran out to the street and dry heaved.
No,
because it was like, it's like a surreal moment.
Yeah.
To have either one of those people on the stage that you're on, let alone both, and have to follow them, it just was like, okay, I could do this, and I did it. But man, my guts were twisted. My guts were twisted like. I like somebody was rolling them like a rubber band.
Oh yeah, whether you like him or not, Jerry is an absolute legend. He's an icon in the comedy world.
No question about
it. And being that new, you're a little over a year into it. It's just like,
yeah, exactly. It does leave you dumbfounded, and the next day I'm like, did I dream that? Did that really happen? And people were posting all over because, I had some people at the show. My son was at the show. A couple other people that I know were at the show. They were like, oh, my God, you did phenomenal. I mean, people were coming up to me after the show. Mm-hmm. Now, this is New York City, a place where you couldn't run into the same person if you even by accident.
Yeah.
And I'm in the hallway after the show, and people are exiting out. And this girl and her boyfriend or husband said, oh, my God, it was so good seeing you again. We saw you at Broadway. We loved you. You're very funny. We follow you. We'd love to see you perform again. I'm thinking to myself, it's cool. It's cool when people tell you that, but it's like, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't like people. I don't want to be recognized. Leave me alone.
You're in the wrong field for that, my friend.
I've been trying on wigs just in case.
There you go.
And the glasses with the big nose and fake mustache.
Yeah, there you go. Disguises. Andy asked in the chat, does your son ever tell you no to a joke, or does he just roll with it?
He's my biggest critic. So he'll tell me, to change something up or to rework it, or he'll come out and say it sucks. Mm-hmm. And I listen to him, but I'm stubborn, so I'm going to try it. And if I bomb, I say, you're right, it sucked. It bombed, it's out.
Yeah.
And I run everything by him. And I again, true story, when I was 7 years old, my mother bought me a diary. Now, I didn't ask for a diary. I had no idea what a diary was. She explained to me it's a book where you put, what happened to you during the day, your thoughts, whatever. So I'm 7 years old, and I make 2 entries in this diary, and that's it. Never again. This thing's almost 60 years old, 2 entries. Same day. The first one is, my ass is itchy. I don't think I wiped too good. The second one, yup, wiped again, more fudge. Now, I tell this to my son, and he said, something very similar. was on Family Guy. And I said, well, you know what? I was 7 years old. This was 1968. This isn't a diary that I still have. There was no Family Guy. So if anybody wants to say I'm a hack and stealing it from Family Guy, hey,
Hey, here you go.
But I wrote that down in 1968. and so, but yes, my son is a very big help. And he's my biggest critic, and he doesn't pull punches. But when he tells me that he's proud of me and is amazed at how far I've come in such a short time, he's a study of comedy. Mm-hmm. So he knows, he'll say, "Oh, have you listened to this podcast?" I said, "What's that?" And he's like, "You're a comedian. You should be listening to all this stuff." I said, "What?" I don't even think of myself as a comedian. I just think, okay, people want me to go up on stage and make them laugh. Okay, I do it. I mean, I guess by definition, I'm a comedian, but I don't think I'm a comedian in a traditional sense where, it wasn't a lifelong ambition. I didn't come from the entertainment field. I don't want to use this to parlay it into acting or other stuff like that. Even though I've been in 2 movies, I've been in 2 indie movies. They asked me. The first one I thought was a prank. I got a phone message from a producer his name was Steve Oakley. And I thought, now this is bullshit. Somebody's pranking me. So I reverse checked the phone number. Yeah, it's Steve Oakley. So then I Googled Steve Oakley. He's an award-winning producer. Nice. Produced a lot of reality TV, won awards for reality TV, produced a few films. So I called him and said, "What can I do for you?" He said, "I found you on social media. I think you're funny, and I think you'd be right for this part." Okay. So I was basically, they spelled my name a little different, and that was my character. And the movie is Steinberg Plays P. And then the other one was Paul Halsey, who's a New York comedian, is a friend of mine, asked me to be in a movie he was shooting over the summer. And I said, sure. And I said, you have no budget, so what's my wardrobe? He says, jeans, sneakers, and a T-shirt. Fine. He says, no, I think your character, Ivan, should wear a flannel shirt. So I don't have a flannel shirt. I said to him, listen, the only people I know have flannel shirts are lumberjacks and dykes, and I'm neither. And so I bought a flannel shirt. I'm walking through Manhattan with a flannel shirt in August. It's 110 degrees. I got there. He says, oh, you're sweaty.
Yeah, no shit.
Outside, you see what I'm wearing? Ivan's wearing the flannel shirt. So we did the shoot. It was good. It was a lot of fun. And I went in the bathroom. I saw myself in a flannel shirt, and I thought to myself, I do make a really cute dyke. So it was worth the $65 I paid for the flannel shirt.
Well, now I just want to thank you because I own flannels and I wear flannels, and it's already bad enough that these assholes in the chat make fun of me for them. So now I'm going to get even.
You're a lumberjack. You can get away with being a lumberjack. I can't. A little 5'5" sawed-off Guido from New Jersey carrying an axe. I'm going to jail. I'm not going to the forest. Yeah. You, on the other hand, you're the brawny guy.
Hey, I'm glad that I can pull it off because, like I said, you're just gonna give these clowns ammunition, and yeah, God love them, but they don't miss an opportunity to make fun of me in the chat when they get.
Well, listen, it's nice that you're that popular. You would be upset if nobody did that. So
yeah. We do it to each other. They love me. They hate me. Either way, they're here. I don't care.
but at least they're watching you, for better or for worse.
Right? 100%. Now, I can see why you have the success you're having so fast and so quick. You have a larger than life personality. You might be a little guy.
I'm trying to lose some of that largeness, but thank you. I'm on Manjaro.
Yeah.
But thank you very much. You know what? I just love having fun. I love living life. That's one thing I love about being with Tina. We laugh together. We have fun together. We don't, no drama, no bullshit. And, 12 and a half years ago, I suffered the loss of my wife, and it was hard. We were married 31 and a half years. And, it's something that stays with you forever, but you have to live your life and move forward. And I think, if my wife's watching from somewhere, she's saying, "What the fuck is he doing?" And she's just, the irony is, if she was alive, I'd never. I mean, she was not. She's one of the few women I know that wasn't crazy. She was a lawyer. She was brilliant. She was well respected in the legal community in New Jersey. But, I would have never made this journey. So it's kind of, you make lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah, exactly. You just try, like you said, man. I appreciate that. I'm the same way, man. We're not here for a long time. I want to have as much fun as I possibly can.
Right.
Yep.
And we don't know. Hey, I could be on stage this weekend and God forbid drop dead. I don't want to, but if I no regrets. You can't live life with regrets. That's why I'm telling you, keep your notes. One day you might say, you know what? I'm gonna take Joe's advice. I'm gonna get up there. I don't give a shit if they laugh, they boo, they heckle, they tell me fuck off. You know what? The bottom line is, if it's something you want to do, do it. And then people come up to me all the time. Oh, I really want to do it. Don't. What's the worst that can happen? There's nothing. There's nothing that will change your life for the worse, and it could possibly change your life for the better. I mean, I can't believe I'm doing the shit I'm doing. I'm playing the stages I'm playing. I mean, people ask me, you're doing this 2 years, 2.5 years. How the hell are you playing Gotham and Rodney's and Broadway and Laugh Factory and touring all over? I think I've been 12 or 13 states. I mean, I want to go everywhere. I want to tour everywhere. It's just, obviously with the price of gas right now, it's because I do prefer to drive. I mean, I will fly if I have to. I flew to Nebraska. But I mean, I could drive and just make a tour. I pull out my paper book atlas and I plan my logistics and I know where I'm going. Yeah. And I love it. I prefer to drive because you meet people, you run into crazy people. It's you pick up material. You're not going to pick up material on a plane.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Like
but every time you go pump gas or go get a coffee somewhere, there's a character. And I get my phone, I start talking to it. They don't know. They go, what's he talking to himself? Yeah, whatever. I'm making a joke that you helped create. But I should say planes are interesting. I was flying a year or two. I'm in an aisle seat. There's somebody 2 rows ahead of me in an aisle seat watching a movie on a laptop. Now, it wasn't like a porno flick, but the people were definitely fucking. Now, there's a little kid walking down the aisle and just stopped. And he's looking, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, God, I wouldn't want to be this guy when the parents find out what this kid stopped to watch.
Yeah, right.
And it's just crazy. And then, I used to fly Spirit Airlines, RIP Spirit Airlines, but they used to have those pocket cards. And I decided, let me look at this pocket card. And Spirit's pocket instruction card was different than other airlines. I looked at other airlines, and they don't have this one thing that scares the shit out of me. They had a drawing of a stick figure sitting in a seat, holding up what was apparently a cell phone that was on fire, yelling help. And I'm thinking, everybody on this plane has one of these devices, maybe more than one if they have a laptop, a tablet, and a phone. Why would they do this? This scares the shit out of me, And there was no instructions. It didn't say, hey, if this happens, call for help. It was just a stick figure holding up a cell phone on fire, yelling help. Okay, that makes me feel real comfortable. And the other thing in their booklet was, how they say, how you brace yourself if you're going to be in a crash, in a water landing, this. Well, they have pictures. Their planes are going down like this. I said, there's no brace. You're dead. What do you mean? Why would you why don't you put it like this? Chances are if you're crashing, you're not going down like this. But why do you have to put the drawing in the instructions to scare the shit of everybody in the plane? I mean, it's not like, oh, well, if it's not going to go down like that, it's going to go down. I think they wanted to wrong. I think Spirit was their own worst enemy because number one, the cheap flights attracted crazy people like me, and then those booklets were like, or those pamphlets were like, come on, are you out of your mind putting this shit in here? People don't want to get on board. They'll follow along with the booklet. What the fuck is this? You know, you know.
Especially for a guy like me, who I've never flown. I'm scared.
Ever?
Never ever flown. I have the only fear I have in life, and I don't know what it is heights. I'm terrified of heights. I'm not afraid of any man walking this earth, any creature walking this earth, fires. Like, I'm not afraid of anything, but heights is like, that's my kryptonite. So I've never flown. I have no desire to fly.
Well, you sit in an aisle seat, tell the person at the window to pull the shade down, and you don't even know you're off the ground. Now, I will tell you, I'm sort of afraid of heights. I do CrossFit, and they used to try to make me do rope climbs. Now, I'm an old man. As I'm trying to climb up this rope unsuccessfully every time, the one thing that's going through my head is Humpty Dumpty. Because if I fall, they're not going to be able to put me back together. I swear to God. And I said that to the coach, and she said, "Oh, you're just being a baby." I said, "Really?" I said, "If I'm up even halfway up and I fall, so I get almost all the way to the top, and I swing my left hand over, and I miss the rope." And that scared the shit out of me because I was ready to let go with my right hand. I had rope burns for a month. I couldn't jerk off for a month because my rope burns.
That's the real travesty right there.
That's right. So, you know, I had to solicit favors and pay dearly for them. But, you know, I'm afraid of heights too in that sense. But when I'm on a plane, I don't think about it. First of all, I put my headphones on, I fall asleep. And I snore. And I don't give a shit if I'm disturbing other people. I don't want to be awake for most of the flight. I said, but I won't travel to Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, the flight, and because of the flight, I'd love to go to Europe, but the flight, the length of time and how much time you're over water, I just think to myself, okay, you know, it's not like we have any place to land.
Yeah.
If there's a problem. And it's not like they have like little aircraft carriers for jets to land in the middle of the ocean if there's a problem. I mean, you're screwed.
Yeah, you're just fucked.
Yeah, and so
right into the ocean.
that's what. Now, if I were to get a gig in Europe, I probably would take a ship. I would probably, take a cruise ship.
You know.
I don't know that I could fly for 6 or 7 hours straight. Florida, I could do it 2.5, 3 hours. Nebraska wasn't bad because it got broken up. Philly to Chicago, Chicago to Omaha, and they were both like an hour flight.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. But to do more than 3-4 hours, I'm just, hey, can we land this thing? I want to get off. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I've never had a need to fly. I love road trips, man. I'll drive everywhere. Everywhere.
You are in a good location where you're close enough to Chicago, you're close enough to Michigan, you're close enough to New York, you're close enough to the East Coast. It took me 12 hours from Cleveland to New Jersey that was my last leg. I went Chicago to Cleveland when I drove back. And then Cleveland back to New Jersey, and door to door it was about 12 hours, a couple of stops, So it's really, you can drive it, as long, as long as you just take stops. That's all. You just
take stops, take a break. I think from Ohio down to Florida, we went down to Florida back in March. Where'd we go? Cape Coral, I think it was. It was about a 16, 17-hour drive.
What part of Florida?
I think it was Cape Coral.
Okay.
Down south down a couple hours south of Tampa. So,
yeah.
But I think it was 16, 17-hour drive. We split it up in 2 days. We drove like 10, 11, 12 hours the first day and stopped and got a hotel, and then the last 4 or 5 hours the second day. And it was
it's as long as you have enough time to spend in Florida on vacation, and you get there and you feel good because you have your car, you don't have to rent a car. Mm-hmm. I don't mind driving, but sometimes like last summer I was selected to do a spot on the World Series of Comedy in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I was so excited, and I was flying out of Philly, and American canceled 5 different flights. I didn't get there. And I thought, had I known it was this difficult to fly out of Philly to get to Little Rock, I would have drove it. I don't care. 12, 14, whatever it was. I don't care. But, I thought, oh, let me fly. I'll get a rental car. It'll be nice. I'll just, And so that was disappointing. And I got asked again for World Series of Comedy, but every time the dates, I already had stuff booked because now the more I'm doing, I'm getting booked, 45, 60, 90 days. And I've got stuff booked into October right now.
Yeah.
We're not even in summer. We're already talking about the fall. So, and I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say, well, something might come up and then not something come up and lose the gig. So, bird in the hand. So it's a shame because there were a couple World Series of Comedy dates I would have loved to done, but I was already booked, and I didn't want to commit, and I did that last year, and I regret it. I had a show booked, and I said, listen, I don't want to be an asshole. I don't want to cancel, but this is a really good opportunity. It's the World Series of Comedy, and he understood. The booker understood, but I don't like to do that to people.
Yeah,
I don't like to do that to people.
Because you never know, whether they, to you personally, they might be like, yeah, we get it, that's okay. But, once you in that phone call or you walk away from that conversation, they go, cross that guy off. He's not allowed to.
Yeah, and I would, being a business person, also, I wouldn't blame them. So if I'm booked, I'm not gonna cancel the booking.
And I'm a big believer in whether it's comedy or music or even doing podcasting, you never know who's going to stumble across your show or your music or whatever the case may be. You don't know what ears or eyes it's going to land on, and that could be one of those golden opportunities where the right person is in the audience at the right time, and they're like, "Oh, hey Joe, we want to put you on tour with I don't know why I'm drawing a blank for comedians right now. Gabriel Iglesias or something like that.
Right. Yeah, and that's why whether it's musicians or whether it's comedy or any live entertainment, it doesn't matter how many people are in the audience. You're there to perform. You're there to give them a great show, no matter how many people are in the audience. Because you know what? Even if it's a free show, they took the time to come out to see you, and they deserve 110%, 100% of the time. And I've always been a firm believer in that. And again, my business background, I think, I've always lived by, early's on time is late, and late's unacceptable. There's certain business traits that I take from the non-entertainment area into entertainment because in the end, it's a business, and I treat it like a business, and I network like it's a business, and and I've always talked to, comedians and said, listen, I know you're not making any money at this, and money's tight, but at the least go to Vistaprint, spend $30, get some business cards, be able to say, hey, here's my info, my phone number, my email, my social media sites. Have something to give out, and I think that the more professional you present yourself, I mean, obviously, you have to be funny. First and foremost, you have to be funny. But if you don't have a professional presentation, if you don't have a professional way about you, like every single show I have, day of or day before I reach out to the booker, what time do you want me to arrive? What's my set length? Is there anything I need to know in terms of material or anything? And they appreciate that. And I think that, I could probably teach a course on it. I mean, I taught a course. This friend of mine has an open mic in Asbury Park, Joe Scrocca, nice guy. And he did the open mics at his studio in Ocean Grove, which is by Asbury Park. And, he asked me, he said, listen, I would love if you could come into one of my open mics and just talk about how you're getting booked, because you're all over the place. We don't know how you're doing it. And I came in and I basically said, you ask, but you ask in a professional manner. You have a professional reel that you send people because they're not going to appreciate looking at, a shitty reel with shitty sound, with shitty,
Mhm.
audio, video. And so I made sure that when I started to approach people, I had the package.
Yeah.
And, I use videos that I get from like, uh, when I did Rodney's, they did a professional video. Broadway Comedy did a professional video. Gotham did and everything was tied into the soundboard. So it's really good. You're not working off the PA, you're working off the soundboard. So everything is good. And so I just, I try to convey to people, number one, you're not entitled. Don't ever go into it. I don't care who you are, how many people, you're not entitled. You always ask, you don't demand. And I have a basic email that I send out to people. Hey, I introduce myself, Joe Scrocca, New Jersey-based comedian. I'd like the opportunity of getting a spot on an upcoming show. I'm attaching a video on my electronic press kit. Please reach out if you have any questions, need more information, can provide any available dates you can offer me. And I have my email, cell phone, attach a video, attach my electronic press kit, and it's there. And all that's nice and professional verbiage, but if what they're watching isn't funny or doesn't fit, and it's 70-30, 70% rejection or no reply, and 30%, you're booking. And that keeps me busy. 30 for the amount of reaching out that I do, 30% keeps me busy. I could book even more shows.
Yeah.
But I don't want to burn myself out. I mean, 10 to 15 a month is a strong month for me. 5 to 8 is a good month. But then, you need to reset. You need to recharge, because I find myself towards the end of like a 10 or 12 or 15 show month that I'm feeling it. I'm not as energetic. I'm not, and it's not fair to the audience. So I want to make sure, and it's just a matter of, wear and tear on the body, the mind, but it's like anything else, like working out, you build endurance. With doing stand-up, I have to build endurance to be able to regularly do that many shows, if I want to keep climbing the ladder, which I do, but I do this for fun. If it really becomes a pain in the ass, I refuse to, kiss anybody's ring or kiss anybody's ass. I won't do that. There's too many places, that I could perform to have to, get down on one knee and say, oh, please, I'm not going to beg anybody. I don't have to do this. I don't do it because I love it. I have fun. And, if you think I'm funny, book me. If you don't, fine. But I think that there's so many people who feel, because they've been doing it so long and aren't funny or aren't that funny, they feel entitled. Well, I paid the dues. Well, I don't believe in any of that pay the dues shit, because I've had other comics come in, oh, you're jumping a line, you're not paying the dues. First of all, what line is there? And what dues am I paying? You know what? I'm doing this all on my own. I'm not buying my way on. I'm not, I basically just market the shit out of myself.
Yeah, and let your comedy.
But you could do that as much as I do, but not be funny and not get booked, but don't cop an attitude. Yeah. Like there's comedians that I've said, they bitch, I tried there. Well, you looked at your stuff. Is it, is it stale? Is it, is it something you need to, or it's a lot of crowd work? Bookers can get anybody in there to do crowd work. Yeah. They want people with material. They want to see how you write. They want to see how you perform, your stage presence, your overall ability to, present yourself on stage. So, and I feel bad because look, I respect every comic out there, because anybody that has the balls to get up behind that microphone and do what we do, I don't care if you're the biggest asshole in the world. I don't care if you're the least funny comedian in the world. I respect you because I know what it takes to get up there every single time.
Yeah, I've said it a million times. I mean, it is truly an art to get up and put yourself out, because you're by yourself on stage in front of, anywhere from, 20 people to over 1,000 people, and you're putting yourself out there. There's nobody. It's not a band where if you're a guitar player and you screw up a note, then
right.
you may not notice it because the drummer is absolutely killing it, or the singer is on fire that night. No, people may not notice. If you fuck up a joke or if you screw up a line, you're there by yourself, and everybody in the audience is gonna. I got nothing but respect for anybody who's, again, like I said, I'm not a comedian. I've never had a desire to be. I enjoy what I do here, and it gives me an opportunity to be funny from time to time. But I
you are
respect the hell out of what you guys do, because I'll be 100%. I don't got the balls to do it. You know,
it's
not that I'm
you
worried
know
about
you, it's to me it's a challenge. To
Yeah.
me it's an addiction and it's a challenge. You know, every show is a different show. It's a different group of people. And sometimes something that worked the night before that killed will bomb. And you know, I have my little things I like I'll say something, and if it doesn't get much of a laugh or if it bombs, I'll say, "Oh, I guess you had to be there," and that usually brings them back right away. Because the worst thing you want to do is show fear. Oh, they didn't laugh. I'm sucking. I'm bombing. I'm this deer in the headlights type of thing.
Yeah,
So you just
you're gonna smell that blood in the water.
exactly. And let me tell you, in New York, well, I did my very first New York City show. I was maybe 2 months in, and I had a showcase at Rodney's, the old Dangerfields in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, I am going to get my ass handed to me. They're going to eat me alive, but I got to do it. I have to get out there and do it. They loved me.
Yeah.
I mean, people were, I mean, it was crazy. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe I am good at this. Maybe I know what I'm doing. Maybe I am funny. I mean, I just get up there and I talk. I tell stories, and it was pretty cool. And then I think it was my 6th show. It was in January 2024, like weeks after I did my first open mic. I did a comedy that was a predominantly African American crowd, and my son said, "Listen, they're going to eat you alive." Probably to this day, one of the best crowds I ever performed in front of. And I find that funny's funny. I mean, if you don't get offensive, if you don't try to be hurtful to anybody, and you just bring the funny, it's funny, and it crosses every boundary. I mean, if you come out to laugh, then you're gonna find that the stuff that I do will probably make you laugh, and if it doesn't, I apologize, I failed, but I'm pretty good in terms, like I said, that it wasn't a nursing home. It was an old age retirement place. That was probably the most uncomfortable I've ever been, because they were asleep, and I was like, "What am I doing? I drove all the way up here. Yeah, I'm going to get $150 for doing this, pay some expenses, make a couple of bucks." But it wasn't fun for me. It wasn't fun for me. It certainly wasn't fun for them, because they weren't conscious, and it wasn't like. That's. I mean, I want to. I need the energy. And I'll tell you, I've had crowds of 3 that had great energy. I've had crowds of 20 that were just sitting there like sticks in the water. And and again, if I feel like stuff's not hitting and I'm not getting the laughs, I'll just you guys do speak English, right? And I just try to wake them up, get a little chuckle out of them, something. And but I so far, I'd have to say over 90% of my shows, I've gotten the laughs or more than the laughs that I expected I would get. And again, it's an addiction. Going out there and saying, "Hey, I am betting myself I could go out there and make this group of strange people who have no idea who I am laugh." And they look at me, a 65-year-old bald Italian guy with a beer belly, even though I don't drink beer. And by the end of the show, a couple of them peed their pants. And that's fun. I've always wanted to get a sponsorship from Depends. Because the tagline, Joe Scrocca comedy, making audiences piss their pants since 2023. Like, it's probably a little too vulgar for them, but I think it would work.
Yeah, but it probably would.
I mean, if Procter and Gamble had a sense of humor, which they probably don't.
Very serious.
I'm pretty sure they're the ones that make the pens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for you where you are, you jumped right into the fire because for as far back as I can remember growing up, or even before that, New York's always been kind of the spot for New York and LA. Like you're going to make or break it's either going to make or break you if you can perform well. And I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent being where you are, and you're just essentially being
No, well, listen, it's a big world out there, and I want to perform on as many stages as I can. But if I were restricted to a 200 or 300-mile radius, I'm probably in the best place in the world. I've got Delaware, Maryland, D.C., Northern Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut. Ohio's probably a little outside of that range, but cheat a little bit. I've got at least the eastern part of Ohio. So you talk. All right, so you've got 12 or 15 pretty big cities in New York. You've got Philly, Erie, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, in PA, Ohio. You've got Delaware. You've got Wilmington. You've got the Eastern Shore area. Maryland. You've got Baltimore. You've got again, the Eastern Shore beach areas. So there's probably 1,000+ actual comedy clubs. There's other venues other than comedy clubs doing comedy, but actual comedy clubs within my 300-mile radius. So, like I said, if I was stuck in a certain range, this is a good place to be.
Yeah, if you get down into the Florida area, I know Tampa's really the last several years they've started to make kind of a name for themselves in the comedy world.
I performed back, I'm gonna say it was April, in Punta Gorda at the Library Comedy Club in the Sheraton, 4 Points. Great club, great group of people. It's fun, and again, you feel good when people talk to you after the show. Like I was walking out to my car after the show and people were pulling out, "Hey Joe, you're really funny. Good job. We hope to see you again." I'm like, wow, they remembered my name.
Yeah, right.
It's like again, a lot of comedians came from something, drama, or improv, or acting, and I had no entertainment background. I mean, I was a mortgage broker.
Yeah.
I got my education's accounting and tax law. I mean, and there's nothing funny about any of that stuff. I mean, as much as there's one funny about the mortgage business. One funny thing I'll tell you. Can I tell you the story?
Yeah.
Time, right?
You got the whole stage, man.
So, I work for a mortgage company, and they got an invite to do this live call-in local mortgage show. And my boss said, "You do it. You're outgoing. You do it." Okay. So the studio literally was in a parking garage in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Now it was enclosed and all, but it was in a parking garage. So I'd never done TV. I'd never done live TV. And it was summertime, and I'm sitting there. So we're on. We do a 30-minute show, live call-in show. Somebody calls in, they ask a question. I start to answer. Well, there's this little gnat flying in front of my face, and I take a breath in, and it flies down my throat. I start choking.
Oh, no.
I finish answering the question. Now, finally, the camera goes off me. I had no idea when the camera's off, the mic's still hot. I said, "I just swallowed a fucking fly." Live on TV. People are jumping like this.
Yeah.
They're saying, "Oh my God, you can't say that. What are you?" And so I made a joke about it and said, "Yeah." And obviously, I was never asked to be back on the show. But what was even more hurtful is all 7 viewers wrote in to say they didn't appreciate my vulgarity. But that really happened, and that's probably the only funny story I could come up with about being in the mortgage business, and it had to do with being on a TV show about the mortgage business.
Yeah. No, it's one of those. It's just one of those kind of boring 9-to-5 jobs, type deal.
Yeah, and in accounting, I have a funny story. I was in Atlanta. I lived there for 6 months. I worked for H&R Block. This is before we had computers to do the returns. So we ran out of forms. I had to go to the Federal Building in downtown Atlanta to pick up some forms. And I'm in the line, and I'm dressed in a suit, and I look like everybody else. This crazy lady comes up to me, not anybody else, starts addressing me as Rainbow Division. I have no idea what this lady's talking about. Rainbow Division, stand at attention. Who the fuck are you talking to? You Rainbow Division. And then she puts her hands over her ears and goes boom and walks away. I'm thinking, why do these people? There's 8 people in this line. Why me? I wasn't in the front. I wasn't in the back. I was like dead in the middle. Probably the least person that would have been targeted. She was attracted to me. So I kind of embellished and made a little story about that and said, and then the marshals came in and they threw her to the ground and arrested her. As they're walking out, she says, what about Rainbow Division? Then they come over to me, put me in cuffs, take me to interrogate me. They realize I'm not Rainbow Division. Now I have to go back to work and tell my boss why I'm late. My boss says, well, you have to be relieved that you aren't detained. I said, relieved? There's some crazy person that looks like me named Rainbow Division walking around Atlanta. But a big part of that happened. And it's like, so, and this happened decades ago, but all the shit's in my head. So I'm saying, how can I make that a funny story? Just the Rainbow Division thing and the boom, it can't end there because it's not really funny. But if I can embellish a little bit, and that's how that's how I became me on stage.
And that's how comedy works.
Yeah. I mean, I tell a story about getting a titty whipping in a strip club, which is a true story. I
think
I'm so the end of the story is like, this woman comes up and she says, I think you need a titty whipping. And like a 3D movie, these boxing gloves, she knocked me out with her tits. So next thing I know, I'm waking up in the ambulance and they're going over my injuries. Broken nose, a dislocated jaw. I really think this is why my wife divorced me, because when she saw the police report, she said, you got knocked out by a pair of another woman's tits, and so, but the titty whipping really did happen. And I wasn't even there. I don't go to strip clubs. I'm a nerd. I have a coin collection. But my family owned a diner, and the head cook, my mother pissed him off and he stormed out. And I said, oh shit, if this guy doesn't come in tomorrow, I'm going to have to do his job and my job. I have to find him. I tracked him down to the strip club and he's getting his lap dance. I'm just talking to him. So he says, all right, I'll be in tomorrow. And the stripper gets up, starts walking around me. I said, look, I'm just here to talk to him. He says, I think you need a titty whipping. And I mean, my glasses went flying. I had hair at the time. I looked like George Costanza in that episode where he wanted to see Elaine's Christmas card. She just puts them in between her tits. And it's almost like they saw what happened to me and said, yeah, let's make this a Seinfeld episode, but with a little different twist on it. But it's just, life is strange. And I think everybody lives crazy shit. They just don't want to share it with people.
Yeah.
And, or they don't know how to tell the stories.
Yeah.
But I guess, for some reason I woke up one day in December 2023 and said, I want to fuck my entire life up and tell all my secrets and all my whatever and see if I can make people laugh and so no regrets, man. No regrets.
Here you are. I like what you said earlier in the show where you were saying just do it. Don't that's something that I say all the time. Don't talk about it. Just be about it. Like you can sit on the couch all day long and go, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do this. I wish I would have done that. Don't just do it. And
no regrets, go do it. There's nothing bad that will come out of it. So maybe you bomb and you're embarrassed for an hour. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Who gives it? You know what? By morning, nobody's going to remember you. Nobody's going to remember that it happened. You're going to dwell on it if you feel like that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, and when people say to me, well, how did you do it? How did I do it? I was in front of the friggin' murderous motorcycle gang.
Yeah.
And I did it because I couldn't back out. I'm going to say, oh, gee, I'm a pussy. I can't tell jokes in front of these guys. And again, I have a story that I developed from that. I tell the story about that was my first gig. And I said, after the scene, I was worried I wasn't going to get out alive, but obviously I did because I'm here. But, afterwards, the head guy came up to me, put his arm around me, said, hey, Joe, you're a funny guy, but the next time you play our venue, you're gonna have to wear one of our vests." And he hands me a vest. On the back of the vest, it said "Rocco's bitch." So needless to say, I haven't been back.
Yeah.
So I try to take everything, and if it doesn't have that punchline, but it's a good story, I'll find a way to embellish and create that punchline.
Yeah.
But do it. Anybody out there, and I'm talking to you too, Glick. Do it, because you may say, "Hey, it sucks. I can't do it." But at least you say I tried, and I'm glad I did it because
Yeah.
I'm having the ride of my life. I
This-
really am.
Yeah,
Like I said, I mean, who the fuck goes into a new comic showcase on a Tuesday night in New York City in February and ends up having to follow Jerry Seinfeld and Jim Gaffigan? I mean, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But it's cool that it did, and it's like you never know in this business where you go. You don't know when you turn a corner. Like you said, you never know who's going to say, "Hey, I like this guy. Let's reach out to him." And the next thing you know, you're doing 4 minutes on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Mhm.
And I think it's and I don't do it for that. I do it to have fun. I do it, and I will tell you, people have come up to me on occasion and said, "Hey, look, you were really funny. You made us laugh. We're having a really shitty time. Family's sick, or my father just died, or whatever. But I came out and you made me laugh." And
Yeah.
that really makes me feel like, okay, to me, that's because I lived that when Renee passed away. It's like, okay, her memory and her spirit is with me because she said, "Hey, you got to be funny tonight because you have to uplift these people because they've got some pain and they're going through some bad shit." And so it's it's something that I always try to make sure that if they're out there, and even if they don't come up, if I made you laugh and it helped you through to the next day, listen, I'm grateful that you came out.
Mm-hmm. No, that was kind of the idea and the concept when I've got probably close to 15 years at this point, like doing like live streaming and stuff like that. Well, about 5 years ago, after talking about it for years, because this is my passion, this is what I want to do. I want to be successful enough at this where I can quit my 9-to-5 job and just spend all day, every day doing podcasting related stuff in some form, or and
if you get to that point, you'll never work a day in your life because of you'll be having fun.
Yep. And that was my whole idea behind it, was there's enough bullshit in the world with the politics and this, that, and the other thing. And COVID started up like right after we started our first show. And it was like, I want something that's going to give people an escape from the bullshit. And that's why we still do the Saturday night show. That was the show that started it all. And it was just me and a couple of my buddies just hanging out, talking about whatever the fuck came up. I did it 3 nights a week.
And it's an outlet for people to watch and say, "Hey, let me see what these 3 knuckleheads are doing."
Mm-hmm.
Right? And your audience builds from there. But no, man, the world's on fire. And if I could take people out of that for, an hour, or do my 10 or 20 or 50 or whatever, set.
Yeah.
It's, it makes me feel good, makes me feel better, makes me feel like there's an actual purpose to this other than me just going up there and saying, "Oh, I'm a funny guy." So, it's just, people need laughter, and people need to lighten up. People can't get insulted. I mean, there are comics that go out there, and they intentionally go out to, insult people or just be assholes to people. To me, that's not even comedy. That's somebody getting in front of a microphone saying they're a comedian, but they're not a comedian. They're just being an asshole. But I do some gay stories and gay jokes and things, but nothing's offensive. And I've had gay people come up to me afterwards and said, "Love your stuff. Love your stuff. Keep doing it. You do it in a loving, funny way. There's nothing malicious. There's nothing, vitriolic about it." And it's nice to get that, because if I cross a line, I want to know I crossed the line, and I'll apologize for crossing the line. And but I think that there are people that intentionally cross a line, or just they start from the other side of that line, and it's not cool. And I've been on shows with people, and I'm like, "Oh, that's not cool. That's not cool." You know, um, you know the you know the you know regardless of what you thought of Charlie Kirk, the man was murdered. He was shot. He's got two little kids. He's got a wife. There's nothing funny about talking about him or
Mhm.
how he was murdered and whatnot. And I don't follow shit like that. I don't follow. I make up my own mind. I don't let people steer me or guide me or what. But
Yeah.
there's certain shit that you just
Mm,
But again, you have carte blanche to do it. But if you get canceled, you live and die by your own material. And
mhm.
I'd never tell somebody you can't do it or say it or whatever. But if you get booed or people beat the shit out of you after the show, it's of your own making.
Yeah, and yeah, I've had the I've been very lucky with this show because this is still a new show that I just came up with, and y'all came out, man. It was like somebody opened up the floodgates. I put one post out, and I've got comedians booked all the way till October. I finally had to start reaching out to people, going, "Hey, I'm booked till October. Let me get to like August or something, and I'm going to start booking again. I'm booking guests and whatnot." But I see your comments, I see your messages. Just let me get through some first. I don't want to keep booking people so far out. But one of the things that a lot of the comedians are saying that do maybe are a little bit decisive, maybe their materials, one way or another, uh, know your room, know where you're at, because if you're do a lot of right leaning jokes and you're in that area, it's not going to fly.
Yeah.
You're going to
And
bomb.
again, like I said earlier, before we started the show, you kind of put that in the ground rules. I don't do that stuff anyway. I
Yeah.
don't do politics, religion, any racial stuff, anything, anything. You know what? Because I don't find it funny. I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, I see so many comics doing the same impression of Donald Trump. You know, uh, all right. Be original. Be original. I mean, I've seen somebody do the same thing 10, 15, 20 different comics doing basically the same thing.
Yeah.
And, maybe some of it's a little bit funny, but be original. But you want to do an impression, do a good impression. I don't do impressions, so I don't have to worry about any of that. But
Yeah.
I just you know, I think there's the world is full of material that you could find and discover and write about and joke about that isn't going to offend anybody.
Exactly. And this is my opinion, and I believe that no matter if it's comedy or you're allowed to have your opinion, you're allowed to voice your opinion, like all that. But I feel like whether it's comedy or streaming or podcasting and whatnot, politics they're a low hanging fruit. They're clickbait, and it's easy to get views and likes and dislikes or whatever you're going for, but it's a low hanging fruit, and you don't have to be very good at it. Also, immediately you split your audience in half,
Right.
which
Not and you burn out. You eventually burn out because there's also so much, and that it's not funny anymore. And I'm always writing. I'm always adding new stuff to my sets. I'm always changing things up. Um, but it's stuff like I mean, you know, I had this bit about my colonoscopy.
Mhm.
So I had to get a colonoscopy last year. I'm in the doctor's office, getting the pre colonoscopy exam, getting all the stuff, the prescription for the night before and all. And while I'm sitting there, I came up with this joke. So I told it to him and to the girls in his office, and they peed themselves. They said, "You just came up with it?" I said, "Yeah." So I said, I'm getting older, and you have to do things when you're older. And last year was colonoscopy time. If you know what a colonoscopy is, it's where they take that mile-long hose and shove it all the way up your ass. So when I was getting the procedure, they didn't put me all the way under. They gave me that twilight anesthesia.
Mhm.
And in the recovery room, the doctor said, "Listen, you were doing a lot of talking while we did the procedure, and you were making us laugh." I said, "Really? What did I say?" He said, "The one thing you said that made us all laugh is you said, 'Come on, fellas, one at a time.'" And I just, I made it up like that
Yeah.
in the doctor's office. And, it just, I mean, it's funny because, a lot of comics are getting older. They talk about old age, they talk about different things, they talk about colonoscopy. But I I mean, I think I take it in a direction that nobody sees
Yeah.
coming, you know, and it's just, but again, it's playful humor. It's not offensive humor. It's not, you know, I mean, if anybody got offended at that joke, I would, what is offensive? I mean, are you a doctor that does colonoscopies? I mean, that's got me, and my doctor laughed his ass off when I told it to him.
Yeah, if somebody got offended by that, Jesus, who hurt you? You
Yeah,
know?
and so there's definitely, but you know, and I do believe there are a very, very, very tiny group of people that go out just to be offended, just to be able to try and get somebody canceled, just because they have a shitty life or a bug up their ass. And instead of coming out and wanting to have fun and laugh, they want to come and try and destroy somebody's life or career
Oh,
and whatnot. And, you know, it's, you know, get a fucking life. You know, don't, if you're not coming out to laugh, if you're coming out to try and hurt somebody, that's not cool. And I mean, see videos now where people get offended at stuff that's not really offensive. They come up on stage and they want to hit the comedian.
yeah.
And the security has to come up and grab the people and throw them out. I mean, that just happened to Carmen Lynch. I don't know if you know Carmen Lynch, very funny comedian. She's very funny. And that just happened to her. I don't know when it happened, but the video I just saw maybe last week, she's up there talking and some guy comes up, doesn't attack her, but pushes her aside, grabs the microphone, and just starts talking gibberish. People thought it was part of her set, and it wasn't until the security came and, you know, basically wrestled the guy and got him off. And then she came back onto the stage, and you could see she wasn't acting; she was scared. So you know, it's you know, public service announcement for anybody coming out to a comedy show: come out to have a good time, lighten up, leave your shit at the door, keep an open mind, you know, and we're comedians. We're joking. We're not.
They're jokes.
Assholes.
Word. They're jokes. You know?
They're jokes.
And like you said, you embellish your stories. So some of it's not even real. It's made up. It's make believe.
and you know, I tell you this. I tell obviously your audience, but you know, I don't like to pull the curtain back, you know, too much because. You know, I want people to think, did that really happen? Could that have really happened? Is that, you know, what part happened? What part didn't happen? And I leave them guessing, you know, but you know, obviously some of the magicians' secrets come out tonight, but
and sometimes it's in the way that you tell it. It sounds believable. You know, we got a thing going on that, you know, one of my best friends he's on Saturday nights and he does a lot of stuff with the behind the scenes, and he'll be doing a show here soon. Hopefully, you know, we started this thing where him and I have beef. And the first night it happened, all these goofy each other. It happened. We're in the chat going, whoa, wait a minute, is this real? Are they really like going after each other? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, but you know, you know, look, we. Like magicians create illusions, you guys create your scenes and your things there, and you know, make people think. You know, don't pull the curtain back and let them. You know, let them think. Is it did we really see something? You know, but you know, it's anything. Now, having started this at such a late age, I could see anything in entertainment really being enjoyable and fun. But you know, like I said, I didn't do this as a starting point to jump off into acting or anything like that. Yeah. I have no desire. I mean, the two movies I did, they were little indie movies. Probably a dozen people saw them. You know, I did them just because I thought, okay, it's fun. So if somebody's going to ask me to do something, I have a hard time saying no. Because I just enjoy doing things, experiencing different things. But, you know, I'm not doing stand-up to say, oh, I hope I get a sitcom or I hope I get a part in a movie or it's not even on my radar. I never did drama in school, never did any. You know, I just was not any. I was like, you know, I was a dork. I was a nerd. I was a businessman, you know, 3-piece suit, briefcase. You know, let me do your taxes. Okay, you know, let me do your mortgage. That's who I was.
I love the fact that you just woke up one morning and like, yeah, I'm gonna be a comedian, and you're doing it, and you're succeeding. I mean, like you're knocking it out of the park. I love that because you hear so many people go, oh, this is what I want to do. This is I thought about it my whole life, and they're still struggling, and they're like, oh, I'm doing Sweet Betty Lou's Diner, for the 10th time this month, but I really want to go on the road. It's just I can't do it because I still have this stupid 9 to 5.
Listen, only you are holding you back. Mm-hmm. So anybody out there, no excuses. You can do it. You don't have to travel. You don't have to invest any money in anything. I'm sure you have some scrap paper at home that you could write your stuff on, or a phone you could write your stuff on. And I'm sure there's an open mic within 20 miles of where you live. Unless you're in Nebraska, then it might be a little long.
Yeah, but, sucks to be you.
but if I could give anybody advice about this, is don't waste another day. Just do it. Go out and do it. Nothing bad will happen. Nothing bad can come of this. And something you may find your calling. You may find something that you truly love doing, and wish you had done it sooner. I don't wish I had done it sooner because it wasn't on my radar. It's not something, I wish I would have done this 20 years ago. No, I might not have been funny 20 years ago. I'm a different person. But you're in the present, in the now. Do it, Don't say, I should have done it. I wish I didn't. I thought about doing it. Do it. It can't hurt you. And a little bit of embarrassment, who gives a shit? They can't chase you with pitchforks and set you on fire, right? Worst they could do is not laugh, boo, heckle, and who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
You wake up the next morning, you go back to your life and said, that really sucked. I'm not doing that again. Or maybe I can make it less sucky and I'll try again. And that would be even more impressive. But my advice to anybody, and I guess this goes for anything in life, but as a stand-up comedian that wasn't a stand-up comedian 3 years ago, you got to do it. And practice in front of a mirror. Practice your stuff. Go to an open mic, work some stuff. Go to an open mic to watch a couple times before you go and do it. Just kind of see, how they work, how the comedians interact with the audience, how they move, how they hold the microphone. Everybody's different. And I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way. I used to laugh because I did that show at Rodney's, and I was still pretty new. So I took the mic out of the stand and I didn't move the stand behind me. It's just something to do because you don't want to block it.
Yeah.
And I sent that video to a booker. Now, mind you, I had people in New York City laughing for 6, almost 7 minutes from start to finish, and they were laughing at my stuff. And the booker said, well, you didn't move the mic stand. I said, are you out of your fucking, I think I said, are you retarded?
Yeah.
Do you hear the laughs? Who gives a fuck? I could shove it up my ass for all it matters. It doesn't matter where the mic stand was. I made a New York crowd laugh for 6 minutes, 7 minutes. And, where the mic stand is, it doesn't matter. So, well, look very amateurish. Okay. So I was an amateur that had a New York crowd eating out of my hand for 6.5 minutes. So fuck you. Could you do it? No, of course not. That's why you're dissing on me.
Yeah.
for the mic cord. So, and there are those people, but I would say a very small minority. I mean, they just can't stand people being successful and they won't do anything to help you. That's fine. I listen. You know what? I don't have to do this, and I don't need people. If they don't want to help me, I'm certainly not going to kiss their ass or beg them.
Yeah.
And, and I'm still getting plenty of bookings.
Yeah, no, I would much rather go through life knowing that I tried and maybe failed than going, well, I wish I would have,
that's regret, and why go through life with regrets? You sit because you can't change it. There's a point where I'm going to be too old to do this. I know, thank God I'm at 65. I'm still, I'm as healthy as I can be, but there's going to be a time where I can't travel. I can't, I just can't be away from a certain doctor. Shit happens, and so I want to get it as much in as I can while I can get it in, and hopefully it'll last longer than like one day at a time, and I'm going to keep doing it till it's not fun anymore, until I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it, that booker that was a douchebag to you, going to come back down the road and go, hey man, you want to, I'd love to, but I'm a little busy.
Listen, if the money's right, I'm a businessman. I'm a businessman. If the money's right, I hold grudges, but in a certain way. If you're going to pay me what I want to do your show, even though you are a real asshole or a douchebag to me,
it's just
my favorite color is green.
That's that kind of told you so moment, gotcha moment where you can go back and go, well, my fee is.
Exactly. And if you're willing to pay it, sure. And if you're not, oh well, you had me when you could have had me for $25, and you told me I didn't move the mic stand. So
I joke around all the time about Joe Rogan, not liking Joe Rogan, and whatnot. I give respect where respect is due in the podcast world. Joe Rogan is the godfather of podcasting. And if the man called me tomorrow and was like, hey, we want to put you on our brand, on our label, on our network, whatever the case may be, we're going to give you $100 million because you're taking that $100 million.
Business is business. You can't, like in The Godfather, it was business. It wasn't personal. It was business. It's, if the price is right and the opportunity is right, I don't give a shit. You could have been an asshole to me for 100 days. As long as you give me the right opportunity at the right price, I'm there.
And I don't know nothing about Joe Rogan. I'm just a shit talker, and he's and look, I'm a new podcaster. I'm trying to get my name out there. I'm trying to get my attention out there. So I'm going to go after the biggest dog in the yard.
Listen, absolutely. I mean, it's you're doing what I'm doing. I mean, I just get my name out there. I try to get, interviews. I try to get podcasts. I was on television in Fox Philly on Mike Jerrick's show. I saw that he was interviewing comedians, so I reached out. I reached out to his producer, told him who I was, told him my story. I said, "Oh my God, I was in Florida and they wanted me on the show." I said, "I'll be back in the state. Come in the studio. This is where it is this time. Park right in front. The police will take care of your car. Fine. Go in there." And he loved the story, Mike. I mean, and it was cool because I was on local regional television, and again, you never know somebody's gonna see and say, that guy looks interesting. Let's have him on. Let's bring him on. And it's all about being in the right place, the right time, not taking shit personally, not holding grudges.
Yeah.
And I respect bookers. You don't want to book me, that's fine. You're gonna be an asshole to me, that's a different story. I've had to go, you're not funny. You may, in your opinion, you may think I'm not funny, and that's cool. But I've got video that proves differently. So fuck off.
Well, that's a great thing. Comedy is subjective, and you might kill in a room, and then you go like you might kill in New York. Then you go to Nebraska, and they're like, we're not really feeling it. Okay, well, that doesn't mean that you're not funny. That just means that crowd doesn't find what you do funny, but you might have 1 out of 20 crowds that are like that,
And it's part of the business. It's part of the business. And sometimes it could be my fault. Maybe I'm off. Maybe my timing is off. Maybe I forget parts of the, I try to be tight. I try to be spot on every night. But every once in a while, you're tired, you're fatigued, and you just, you're not doing it intentionally. It's just, it's part of life. You just have bad nights. And I've had a couple, but not many. But, I think they make you stronger.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those things where
I think the people that are looking for a way out use that as a reason to get out. And the people that say, hey, you know what? So I did I thought it was a show and ended up being an open mic in North Jersey about a week and a half ago. A couple of comics I know put it on. Very nice, very funny. And this place was like, the mic was right in front of a window air conditioner that was on full blast. They had the Stanley Cup playoffs on. There was a guy that was just talking right back at me. And I thought, I could take this as just a bullshit show, or this helped me work through distractions, which you're going to have from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And I did my set. I got through it. And I said, I just wanted to say, okay, I've got this blaring air conditioner blasting on my head with the noise and the cold air. I got this guy just at the top of his lungs, drunk off his ass. Yeah. And you know what? You just power through and you say, okay, I did it. And I did it through those distractions, and it makes you a little bit better.
Yeah. We talked
like
a little bit about that before we started the show. Those unexpected curveballs and those technical difficulties. Last week I was telling you, back to back Tuesday and Wednesday night, my internet was dog shit. I wound up on my patio on my phone, doing the show, but I had to do it. Thank God I had great guests. But I had to do what I had to do to get through the show. And it says make you better at what I believe you can either give up and throw in the towel and walk away, or you can go, you know what, I'm going to get through this. Yeah, and I'm going to be better next round.
Yeah, that's and there are things that you muscle through and say, that made me a better podcaster because that made me a better comedian, musician, whatever. And but I just enjoy. I still make people laugh. I had fun. I got an empanada, which was nice.
Nice. I'm a big guy. Free food is always a win.
But it's just, but every show's a challenge because you don't know, the crowd. You don't know. I mean, and like you said, you have technical difficulties. I don't know if we said this on the show or we did before the show, but I've done shows where the mic goes out. I've done shows where the lights go out, and you just muddle through it. You just say, hey, you know what? I do comedy better in the dark. You don't have to see my ugly face or my fat, whatever. And then, and that gets a laugh. Or, if the mic goes out, hey, I don't need this mic. I'm Italian. I talk louder than what you hear me on this mic anyway. I those Sunday dinners where just to get some meatballs, you had to be like a loudspeaker. So, it's and I like a challenge. If it becomes too easy and too streamlined, I think you start to get a little complacent, a little arrogant, and I don't want to be that guy. And so I like some of the shows where you have to work a little bit harder and know, hey, you know what? This material isn't a gimme with every audience. I got to work through this and see what I can do to make these people laugh.
A little bit of a. I mean, I'm a believer, like, to be an entertainer, you have to have a little bit of ego, get a little bit overconfidence. But the reality check from time to time goes a long way. That show or that it's like you just said. All right, I got to go back to the lab. I got to rework some things. I got to figure some things out. But it makes you better in the long run if you allow it to.
Yeah, and again, I hear people that I've worked with for 2 years, and they're doing the same set over and over and over again. I work with comics that don't want to leave, the Delaware Valley, South Jersey, Delaware, Northern Delaware, Eastern PA. They don't want to leave that area. You're never going to grow. You're never going to grow. I mean, I want to go. I want to go into a market, an audience where I don't know if they'll think I'm the biggest idiot. But if I don't take those risks, and if I don't accept those challenges, then I'm the one saying, "Hey, I have regrets because I didn't go to Atlanta because I was afraid that my shit wouldn't." I want to know. I want to know. I'd rather bomb and know my shit doesn't fly in an area than say, gee, I wonder how I would have done in that area. That's the worst thing for me anyway. And I think for a lot of people is, gee, I wonder if. And I don't want to wonder if. I want to do it and say, hey, I did it. I sucked. I did it. I was mediocre. I did it. I was fantastic. Whatever. But when you can say that you did it, at least you did it and know what you did, and it makes you stronger, makes you better as an entertainer. Again, the podcast, comedy, music, acting, whatever.
Yeah.
I think the hurdles and the challenges need to be there. I think otherwise, if it gets too easy, like I said, you just get complacent, and that's bad. I don't want to stop writing. I don't want to sit there and say, "Well, I've got my set, and this is going to be my set for life." Because eventually, I'm going to get bored talking about this stuff. People are going to see I'm bored talking about this stuff, and if I start touring over and over again, they're going to say, "Oh, it's the third time we saw him. He hasn't changed up his act yet. We're not going to go there for a fourth."
Mm-hmm.
You always keep some stuff in and mix it up, but you always have to be fresh. You always have to be ready to take chances with new stuff.
Yeah. Anybody, any bookers or venues that may hear this, Joe's ready to hit the road.
Listen. I'd love to. I would love to fill up August. I would. Anybody out there want to do August? I would love to do another tour. I actually been trying to book shows, but I don't have any commitments yet because it's too early. Every booker told me. I'm trying to do the Southeast. I'm trying to do Maryland, Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia, and Northern Florida. I'd love to get 15 or 20 shows and just wrap it all through there, and then come back here in September and do what I've got up here in September, and then maybe in November go back out your way. Try to do.
Would love to have you come back to Ohio. We would definitely if you're back.
Yeah, Crackpots, great club, great people, great audience. Again, those people, right away if people came out to laugh or if they're just, oh, I'm out on a date that I don't want to be on and I don't feel like it. I mean, and those people were there to laugh. I got a great response. Nice. A lot of great people in Ohio and the other place too. And that was just very kind that they added me to that because I lost the second Crackpot show because of the headliner bringing his own people. And I was scrambling, and Monty Lumpkin is the booker. Great guy. If you ever see his name, go see a show. He's very funny, puts on a good show. And he was very kind and put me on and even paid me a few bucks, which I wasn't expecting. I just was happy to have a show before I had to head out to Chicago.
Yeah. And the great thing about where I'm located in Ohio, I'm in central Ohio. So everything, east, west, north, south, is 2 hours for me. So, and we're always looking for music or comedy, my girlfriend and I, to go, especially now that it's like summer or, even in the fall, like on the weekends when the kids aren't here. I'm a wanderer. I get, I want to. I've been on her lately. I'm like, I got an itch. I just want to go. Like Cleveland, 2 hours away. Cincinnati, 2 hours away. I just want to go somewhere for a day or two and get away from home. So.
Well, listen, and it's a short, cheap vacation getaway. I mean, it's just to travel a couple hours. Not like that long 17-hour drive to Florida. And so, you go in and drive a couple hours and you're in you're still in your state, but you're in a different city. Yeah. And, you really feel like you're on the, I mean, I'm like 20 minutes from Atlantic City, and Tina and I go to Atlantic City and stay 2-3 times a year, one night, 2 nights, and it just feels nice. I'm 20 minutes from my house, but I feel like I'm on vacation.
Yeah. And I'm blessed with this show and my music show that, like, I tell my guests, 3-hour, 4-hour max window. If you're somewhere in that circle and we have the opportunity, we're going to make the trip. I want to come see you guys live. I want to come and support you guys in person, and have that opportunity to be there and be like, yeah, they were on the show. Of course I'm going to go see them. You know what I mean?
No, that's great that you support, entertainers, musicians, comedians with the show. And then, like you said, with you going out and supporting the live shows. And that, that's important because, I hate to go to a show and people say, "Oh, can you draw?" I said, "Look, I can't promise anything. I mean, I've got a decent fan base, but I can't force them to come out, and I'm not going to beg people to buy tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, if they come out, they come out. If they don't, I'm sorry. If you want to cut my pay, but I know one thing: whoever's here, they'll laugh. They'll have a good time. And I always do my best to promote my shows. I always try to put asses in the seats, but sometimes I get there and there's maybe 6 or 8 or 10 people that came to see me, and other times there's nobody. I mean, there's people in the audience, but nobody came to see me. So it's really, there's a lot of people. Oh, we'll come see you when you're going to be. Oh, I can't be there that day, or I'll try to make it. And they keep bugging. When are you going to be here again? Well, I'm a professional touring comedian. Just because I live in South Jersey doesn't mean I'm doing a shitload of shows in South Jersey, because I'm not. I'm going to be on the road for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and be nowhere near New Jersey. And, I don't think people get it. I think they still look, oh, this is our friend Joe. He goes across it with us. Or this is our friend Joe. He lives in South Jersey. Joe's a professional touring comedian. I haven't made much money at it. It's cost me more than I've made. But, I get paid for shows. And I'm doing shows well outside of my home base market. So, but it'll grow. It'll continue to grow. I mean, like I said, I've only been doing this 2.5 years. The fact that I've done as much as I've done and have any fans whatsoever is amazing, and I appreciate it. And that's another thing I do. And you'll see this on my post probably on Sunday. Is every Sunday I thank everybody for putting me on a podcast, for putting me on a show. And because I appreciate it, and I want I appreciate it, and I want people to know, hey, you know what? These are good people. They were kind enough to put me on their podcast. They were kind enough to put me on their show, give me a spot on their show, and I want to thank them. And I think it's only right. And I don't see any other comedians doing that. And I'm thinking to myself, and everyone says, "Oh, I like to post. I like to post. I like to post." Why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? Because you know what? Your spot's not guaranteed. You can't take this for granted. And if you don't show appreciation and respect for the people that are taking the risk to put you up on their show, they don't owe you a damn thing.
Yeah, they don't. No, that's we shout out our chatters box. I love those guys when they're feisty. On Saturday nights, I had a crazy idea a couple of years ago. I'm like, I'm just going to drop the link, and whoever wants to come up and hang out with us on Saturday nights, we can have 10 people on our panel.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's been fun, like where it was like Saturday night's a 6-hour show. And I was like, I used to have a co-host, so it was like, we'll do an hour of our show with our banner back and forth, and then we'll drop the link. Now it's like 10 minutes in, and I'm dropping the link, and they're and that's like a fun way that we could be like, hey, we love you guys, so come up here, you guys spend the week with us, come hang out with us on a Saturday night, and that's everybody cool. And anybody's welcome. Like a jacket.
That's great. It builds loyalty, it builds community, and lets people know, hey, you're a real person, and you really appreciate them, and making them a part of the show, and that's cool. And I always, I hang around, talk to anybody who wants to talk, take a picture, and talk. A lot of times you don't even talk about comedy. Just talk about life. Where you're from, what do you do, how long do you do comedy? What's your family life like? Because you really seem fucked up. They want to talk about. And I have nothing to hide. I've lived a good life, and like I said, I talk to everybody, and I'm an open book about everything.
And I think as fans, and I'll speak for myself in this instance as a fan, we love that. We appreciate the hell out of that. I was fortunate enough to meet one of my favorite comedians of all time. I've watched him since I was a kid, Christopher Titus.
Sure. Oh God,
I love the guy.
My favorite bit is the bit about taking the kids with the nail gun to the priest that molested them. That's okay, Timmy. You could do it. God's fine with you doing the kids with the nail gun. That I if I hear that, I will pull over because I'll crash if I try
Yeah,
to
exactly.
drive.
But
No,
a couple years back, he was doing the
he's
funny bone, and comedians hang out, especially the big ones. They hang out, $20, you get your picture taken with you. I'll sign my little picture for you. And I had a couple interactions with his girlfriend or fiance. She was his opener. When she was out, I had a couple. We were front row, and I'm not that guy. Like, I don't want to be a part of the show. I'm just here, make me laugh. Just make me laugh. I don't want to be a part of the show. So when he came out, he was automatically looking for me because her and I had a good interaction. And then him and I had a few interactions throughout his show. He was talking about divorce and kids and this, that, and the other thing. And I kind of went through a similar thing. So after the show, I'm standing in line. He's like, hey, I got close. He's like, hey, do you mind doing me a favor and go back to the end of the line? I want to talk to you for a few minutes. Yeah. Wound up, like, after the show, after he went through everybody, took all the pictures and did everything, him and we probably chit-chatted for like 10 minutes. We took fun pictures together. He signed my little thing, didn't charge me for it, which I thought was really cool. It just had a really good experience with him. And it's like, people say, don't meet your idol. Not that he's my idol by any means. He's just one of my favorite comedians.
Yeah.
And, but it was a great experience, and it was one of those moments. He was a fan. He's a real guy. I think
most comedians are. I mean, I'm opening for Dat Fan in July, and I remember sitting in my living room watching Dat Fan win the first Last Comic Standing. He beat out Ralphie May, and now he lives in New Jersey, and he asked me to open a show for him on July 11th. I'm thinking to myself, I'm opening up a show for a guy I watched on TV. Yeah. It's just, so like I said, there's all these opportunities that you just never know where they're going to come from. And it's just really, it's just really cool. But you're right. I mean, like Steve Trevino was great. I mean, nice guy. I've opened for Don Jameson, nice guy. Tony Woods, fantastic guy. So there's some people that I've opened for, and I gotta say, people talk shit about Seinfeld. He could have been an asshole to me. He could have just passed by me and just kind of gave me a look. He stopped, he laughed, he punched me in the arm and told me I was going to do great. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah,
he didn't, and I wouldn't have thought any less of him for not that. But I think a lot think of him in a higher standard now or higher pedestal now because he took 30 seconds to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it created a moment that I'll never forget until I get Alzheimer's. And then, but yeah, it's just, I think they're all, anybody in entertainment, I think is I think a good number of them, I won't say most of them, but a good number of them, they're real people.
Yeah,
and they don't mind saying hi, signing something, taking a picture. Just don't bug the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And Dom Herrera, the comedian Dom Herrera. So my family owned a diner in Waldo for 41 years. And one of the places where Dom started before he ever, blew up and took off is a place called Casbah Comedy Club, which isn't there anymore, which is in Wildwood. And it was across from the diner. And I saw Dom was going to be there. And I said, all right, we got to go see Dom. We saw Dom. That was good. So the next night, the diner closed, but I was waiting outside with one of the cooks. He was waiting for his wife to pick him up. And people were still inside cleaning up. Dom comes walking across the street. I said, oh, they're closed. I said, what do you need? I can let you in, get you something. My family owns a place. He said, I just want a cup of tea. My mother's sitting at the counter. She and Dom instantly bonded to the point where he talked about her on the Tonight Show.
Oh, nice.
They just always they I don't know what it was, and it was really a cool thing to see. My mother having no idea who this guy was, bond with him, and then just have him talk about her all over the place. And so I mean, I can't say I've had any bad experience with headliners. Eddie Ift. Have you ever heard of Eddie Ift? He's from the East Coast, but he's out in California now.
That name sounds familiar. I might not
Funny
be.
guy, nice guy. So I did a show in Stone Harbor, New Jersey. I opened for Eddie, and he was from the area, so the audience was all his people.
Yeah.
So he finished his set, and it was in a movie theater, but it had a big stage. It was nice theater. And I was just sitting in a seat off to the side in front of the stage, and he finishes the set. He comes off stage, and all his friends are coming over, and he makes a beeline for me. Gets right, leans over, and said, "Dude, you're very funny. That was a great set." And again, he didn't have to say anything, and I wouldn't have thought any less of him. But I think so much more of him because he took that 30 seconds or minute to stop and come right to me. And then, he and his friends all, but it's cool to work with these people. And not that I need validation, because like I said, I do this for fun, but it's cool when comics of a much higher level give you compliments and validate you. And I think really the best validation is the audience. If you do a set and that audience laughs, that's a validation. But when a professional comedian who, they don't laugh at much, so you were funny, you made me laugh.
Yeah.
That's like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what you mean when you say, when you meet Chris Titus. I would imagine just knowing from seeing him on his act would be a cool guy and wouldn't be, an asshole. But and I think, and that's great that you got to meet him. Hopefully, you get him on the show.
Hey, it's maybe one day.
but it's.
And I told my girlfriend I've been a little, because I do the music show and that's all about independent artists and whatnot. And then I started doing this show and I've always been timid, because I know we're a small podcast. We're a network that's coming up and we're still growing. And I know like with the social media, a lot of people, that's what they look at, numbers and stuff like that. So I've always been a little timid on who I reach out to or who I'll message or whatever. And I started doing this show and I seen how quickly I was getting responses from comedians. And it's all walks of comedians who've been doing it for years, people like, you that are new. I had a young lady on not too long ago. She literally just started like 6 months ago, and it was her first experience doing a podcast. So she didn't really know what to do or what to expect. And I said, just follow my lead. I got you. Don't worry. But I started reaching out to bigger names. And I told her, I said, you know what? Screw it. I miss 100% of the shots that I don't take. And who knows?
Listen, everybody wants the exposure. It doesn't cost them anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a Wednesday night. Most comics aren't performing on. It's usually Thursday to Sunday. Maybe Thursday to Monday. Most comics are free on Wednesday night. I bet you could get a lot of people on this show. Mm-hmm. I bet you Mark Norman would do it. Mick Kaplan might do it. I'd reach out to Carmen Lynch. She's very funny, very nice, very funny, tall as shit. She's like over 6 foot. But I think you could get, comics that are, the tour that sell out clubs, sell out theaters, have specials on television. You hear them on Sirius XM. We're attention whores, but we're also business people looking to expand our brand. And I don't care how big of a comedian you are. I'm sure there in back in my day, some people didn't know who George Carlin was or who Richard Pryor was. Very few people. Yeah. But, I think anybody in entertainment is always looking to expand their reach, to expand their fan base. It can't hurt. Unless they Googled you and found out, that you're somebody that could hurt their career. But you're a cool guy. You've got this show. All you're trying to do is boost your brand, boost your podcast, and help entertainers boost their brand through your podcast. So I don't see why there'd be any objection.
Yeah, right. So I'd be afraid for some bigger names.
Yeah, like you said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Mhm.
So I would definitely, you know, I'd reach out. I'd just start doing. They're all, you can reach them all through social media.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've reached people through social media wanting to open for them, and they said, "Hey, check your stuff out. You're funny, but we're all set." Like Vic DeBenedetto. I've reached out to Vic. Vic got right back to me, and he took the time to view my video.
Mhm.
I forget this other kid's name. He's really starting to get up there. But he reached out, so they'll respond to you. It might be with a no, but keep trying,
Yeah.
But I think most comedians would be happy to do it, especially in midweek when they're not doing shows.
Oh, they're not doing anything. I've been lucky. I didn't realize when I scheduled that I've had 3 comedians so far that have been on Kill Tony, and like, I mean, that's kind of a big thing right now. So it's like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
There's no bad time, but midweek on a Wednesday for comedians, it's perfect because, like, you could look at shows. There's very few comedy shows on a Wednesday night. Maybe a lot of mics, but these upper level people aren't doing mics. I mean, they might do from time to time to work out some new stuff, but for the most part, they're sitting in a bar having a drink on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get too late. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to wrap this up. But before I let you go, any upcoming shows you got coming up, or where can people?
Yeah, so on Friday, I'm going to be in Merchantville at the Camden Comedy Collective this Friday, the 12th. Then on next Friday, I'm going to be at the Basement at Tommy's in Bergenfield, New Jersey, for a comedy competition. And then next Saturday, the 20th, I will be at Strangeloves in Philadelphia. And then the big show coming up is July 11th at Give a Hoot Comedy Club in Berlin, New Jersey. I'll be opening for Dat Fan, who was the very first winner of Last Comic Standing. And my socials are just, see this name right here? This, let me see. There, right there, behind my finger, in front of my finger. Joe Scrocca Comedy. That's all my social stuff. So you go Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. And I'm trying to get better at posting more stuff because I know it's important to do that, but life gets in the way.
Yes, it does. I'm well aware of that. I'm terrible on social media, and I need to be better. I know, but I'm doing 3 to 6 shows a week, and then working.
And I hope you hit your goal. So this will be the only job that you have, and you're super successful at it. And trust me, if that happens, you'll never work another day in your life because you're just going to have a shitload of fun making money.
Yeah, that is the goal right there. Joe, it was a pleasure meeting you. I had a great. I could talk to you all night, man. I really did. I will definitely, as long as you're open to it, I definitely want to have you back down the road.
Oh, of course, anytime.
I love bringing guests back, to see what they're doing, how things are going.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the time you have maybe some openings in the fall, I might be scheduled to do some stuff back in Ohio, and I'd love to be able to say, hey, I'm going to be there in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and maybe get a good crowd out and get you out and have some fun and meet you and let me pet that beard.
Everybody wants to pet the beard.
It's not a gay thing. It's just it reminds me of so many little puppies I had.
Yeah, you'll have to get permission from my girlfriend, but I think she'll be okay.
All right, I
think she'll be okay with it.
I'll buy her dinner and drink. You got to buy both dinner and drink, and hopefully she'll say, okay, one pet. Don't make
just one pet. I think she'll be okay with it. I don't think she's going to worry about a short little Italian guy from Jersey.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. I can't believe I made it past my bedtime relatively alert, and that's without a cup of coffee sitting here.
Yeah, right. Joe, I appreciate it so much. You're welcome to drop down if you want. I got to do my little spiel to close the show up.
All right.
I appreciate it, man. Best of luck to you, and look forward to watching your journey continue and all the success.
All right. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Let me figure out how to get out. My son got it set up, and there we go. Leave studio. All right. Take care. Talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for watching. As always, shout out to Joe Scrocca. He was awesome. What a great guest. I had a feeling about him. I knew he was going to be good. I knew we were going to have fun. I could have literally talked to him all night long. If you guys aren't already, go ahead and check him out on all the social medias. Like he said, Joe Scrocca comedy, real easy to find. And if you don't find it, I've tagged him on our Instagram post, our Facebook post. He's tagged across the board. So guys, you know what to do. Go give him a follow, give him a like, check out his schedule because he might be performing near you, and jump out there and go support him and tell him Glick sent you. But tune in tomorrow night for Speedway Stories. I think Wally and Johnny are just it's a free chat, man. They're hanging out in the garage. They're going to talk about some upcoming races, what's going on in the motorsports world. It's in full effect. We are summertime now, so all the guys are out there. They got the vroom vrooms, and they're going fast, and they're getting muddy, and all the things that I don't understand. I know, but it's Johnny and Wally are doing some really cool things with Speedway Stories, so check them out tomorrow night. I think Friday night might be a dead night. Maybe we'll jump on and get the Lazy Shaman show streaming on the network for you guys. If you're not already following them, we'll get it streaming on the network so you guys can check out Lazy and Shaman do their Friday night shit. If we're not doing anything here on Friday nights, and then of course Saturday. Cash and I will be back for Cash's Corner. We got the Clash in Italy to talk about, and then wrestling shit in general that we got to talk about, which means I'm going to get yelled at because I didn't watch wrestling last Friday, and I haven't watched wrestling for Monday yet. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow night. Get caught all up on the wrestling stuff. And then, of course, Saturday night, nonsensical nonsense, doing our thing, acting all crazy, acting all out of pocket. And letting you guys come up and hang out with us. I'm sure Rock Lee will be there. Rock Lee, check out EDM Combat EDM. Why have I forgotten it? EDM Combat Remixes on YouTube. All kinds of new stuff there that Rocky's been playing around with. We've got a new video on our channel. And I got a new video coming out very soon as well. Rocky and I are having a lot of fun playing around with some music and AI stuff, and just having a good time with it. So check us out, bio.link/nonsensical network. All of our links are there for all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok. I promise you guys, I'm trying to get better, posting more. I'm working on it, just trying to find the time. And then the shows are live all the time on our Facebook, our YouTube, and our X channel. We are back on X, going live over there. So shout out to our people on X, formerly known as Twitter. And then, of course, you can listen anytime, any place, wherever you listen to podcasts at. And they are 100% fully up to date, with the exception of tonight's show, which I'm going to try to get up there before I go to bed. So that'll be up there. And yeah, so thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for supporting us. Appreciate it. We are still in the top 5 of the top 100 podcasts in all of Ohio. I think we're sitting at number 4 right now, where we've kind of been hanging out there for the last few weeks, but still nonetheless. Yeah, don't forget, we've always got the super chats going. If you guys want to support the network, support the shows, the Cash App and the Venmo and the whatever, they're all in the bio link. So yeah. Thanks for hanging out on Glick's Comedy Lounge right here on the Nonsensical Network. Remember, guys, laugh loud, live loud, laugh hard, but just be nonsensical. Ain't no shame in having a little fun and laughing at all the bullshit in life. I'm out of here. Oh, before I hit the buttons, my guest last night, Thistle and Oak, we're going to end the show with their song Last. So check them out as well. And a special huge shout out. Thank you to Paul and Lindsay Ann for coming and hanging out. Thistle and Oak. And here's their song Last.
to my last cigarette, staying past last call, drinking to regrets. Nothing works how you want it to. Ain't that the hard-proof truth? Swear I had nothing left. You sparked life into a dying heart, dying heart. You showed up before I was too far gone. I give this one last shot, I give it all I got, 'cause I got nothing to lose. Love comes ready or not, you look like all I want. Seen it all, but this feels new. So I'll go forget my past, I'll give this one last chance, 'cause this might last. I was down to my very last dime, that didn't change your mind. Good love is hard to find. You gotta lose some, ain't that the truth? I had to walk that road, they got it led to you. I give this one last shot, I give it all I got, 'cause I got nothing to lose. Love comes ready or not, you look like all I want. Seen it all, but this feels new. Forget my past, I'll give this one last chance, 'cause this might last. I was down to my very last breath, no hope, yeah, love ain't fair, but now you're standing there. So I'll give this one last shot, I'll give it all I got, 'cause I got nothing to lose.